What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to our channel here at Tilted Top. It's been a while since we did just a straight movie review. Today, we are going to be reviewing the movie Nocturne. And be sure to hit that like, subscribe button. It really helps our channel grow. And Sean, give him a preview. What is this movie about?
Nocturne is a 2020 American psychological horror film written and directed by Zoo Quirk. I think I'm pronouncing that right. The film stars Sydney Sweeney, Madison Eisman, Jock Colemon, and Ivan Shaw. Jason Blum serves as a producer under his Blumhouse television banner. The film stars Sweeney as Juliet Lowe, a pianist in her last year of high school, who is jealous because she is constantly overshadowed by her twin sister.
All right, so that doesn't really give too much away from that description, but that is
It's
definitely what it's basically about.
I don't know.
Uh,
I think that's basically spoiler alert. That's the whole movie.
Yeah, but I know that this is the director is written and directed by the same person that Zoo Quirky.
Hmm.
Not sure I pronounced that. Um, First debut. Before we jump into spoilers, I wanted to get your opinion on would you recommend this movie to somebody
Would I
with
recommend? Oh, you okay? You want to? Okay.
with no spoilers?
I would. Okay. Let me think about this for a second. If you don't like horror movies, I would stay far away from it. I would not even acknowledge its
Okay.
existence. If you like horror movies, I think it's worth a watch. There's definitely a lot of worse ones out there.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page. I would say again, if you aren't a horror fan, and or let's say you just don't like to be scared, like you don't like the gore, the blood, or being creeped out, but you like that kind of suspense. I think this is tipped more towards suspense. Yes, there's going to be a couple images that might be kind of scary for some, but if you're a light horror fan, I think you would actually like this movie.
If you yeah, it's a very kind of run of the mill horror film overall.
Yeah. Well, I'm
So,
hearing that's happening. The whole Blumhouse, how they're just throwing stuff out there. They're very low budget and everything.
yeah,
And
well, it seems like Blumhouse has some sort of deal with Amazon because they keep releasing a bunch of these like Amazon originals, and but like Blumhouse is still also doing major theatrical movies that are like on a different level. But then they have all these Amazon ones that they're pushing out that like like I said, if you're looking for horror stuff to watch, you're just kind of like a horror person, and you're like, yeah, I need more stuff to watch because I've seen it all. You can get this a shot.
yeah, definitely on the same page. But I like to throw that out. So if you are interested in watching it, just go pause the video, go watch it, watch a trailer, and then come back because we're about to jump into some spoilers about the movie. Um, you want to start off, or do you want me to start off on
You
that?
you can start off with it.
Okay, so the movie starts on I don't want to call it a high because it's really not a high. It's just it just starts and then 5 minutes later, girls playing the violin and dead.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, okay, interesting, nice way to set it up. But as it goes on, you're introduced to the main characters. So Juliet is the main girl that you're going to follow throughout, and her twin sister is what was her name? I want to say V.
Um, yeah, Vivian.
Vivian. Yeah.
Hang on one
Uh,
second, guys.
that's live right here. He's got to get Postmates or whatever he's getting. Uh,
My wife needed 3 smoothies.
just for
They're just kid
herself.
size those. I'll be right back.
Um, but while he's going to give the smoothies away, um, I want to talk a little about these actors. I don't even know who they were. They've been in a lot of other things. Sydney Sweeney, Madison Eisman, they have been in other things, and for some reason, I just don't even know who they are. Um, but I think they did a pretty good job of, really capturing the characters. Um, and he's back.
Okay, I'm back.
All right. So I was talking a little bit about um, the actual uh, actors and actresses that are in this movie
Yes.
before going on with the story, because I was saying I had no idea who any of these people were. Were you familiar with them?
Um, no, no, not one person in this movie did I recognize.
Not one person.
Yeah.
So the main girl, Sydney Sweeney, she comes from a lot of things that other people know about. So, for example, I'm going to pull up Wikipedia right now, and let's see.
You mean she's been in a lot of things?
Yeah, been in a lot of things. Euphoria. Let's
Fair
see.
enough.
Grey's Anatomy as a small part. I want to say someone was in um, The Handmaiden's Tale. That one sounds familiar, but I'm not entirely too sure. Let's see. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So they've been around, and a lot of people know who they are. But as far as the acting goes, what'd you think about the acting?
I thought that the acting for the most part was actually pretty bad.
That is not where I saw that going. Who? What?
No, okay, like it's almost like you gotta have like a you gotta take acting in horror movies with a grain of salt almost
Mhm.
because I don't expect the greatest acting from horror movies. So when I look at it that way, it was decent. It was fine. But there's just times where like there's a scene later on in the movie where the main character Juliet goes to the teacher's house, Dr. Henry, and
Mhm.
they have an exchange where she tries to kiss him or she does kiss him, and then he's like, no, I would never do that with a student. That whole scene was horribly like the way that the lines were delivered and everything was just bad in
Yeah,
my
but
opinion.
are you talking about it's bad from Sydney's perspective or the guy's perspective in that, or both of them?
Both of them.
Both of them.
This movie had it definitely had some moments that were stuff that was better. It's just the way it was directed also wasn't the greatest because it didn't really give the actors kind of much to I don't know. It didn't really give them much to work with. I felt like whenever there was almost like a dramatic sequence or something, like this
Mhm.
really like loud, weird like chorus music would start playing and it would completely
Yeah.
take me out of everything that was happening anyway. So I was having a hard time focusing on the acting to begin with
Yeah.
because all of a sudden you just hear this ah.
I really thought they were using the music to build to jump scares, which weren't in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't jump scares, but the music was like building towards like, oh, something's gonna pop out, loud noise. I actually didn't mind the music in here and how they did the sound.
I feel like they're trying to use the music like how the music would be used in a movie like The Witch or
Mhm.
kind of one of those kind of more artsy style of horror films. And it did not work for me. I felt like it was like they were trying to make this one kind of movie, but they were making a B horror movie kind of deal,
Right.
you know?
I, I mean that makes sense. But going back into the story,
Why'd
uh,
you get so yellow? Oh, there you go. Okay.
uh, I'm clicking through my tabs here, and every time I turn off the white screen, it just gets yellow.
Gotcha.
But yeah, going back to the story, so you have these twins, and they're so focused on playing the piano and being the best, and it just so happens that the other twin is the prodigy, is the one that's going to make it, that does
Mm-hmm.
better,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it falls short for me because the main character wasn't bad.
She, she was a little bitchy, or maybe that's not the right word to use.
Well, as far as like
She knew
her
she was
piano
better.
playing and
She
everything.
she knew she was better, and she kind of she rubbed it in a little bit.
You talking about the
Um,
sister?
yeah,
V?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She rubbed it in a little bit, but Yeah, you could just tell that there was that like younger sibling. Well, I mean they're twins, but
Yeah,
even at the beginning of the movie, they like make a point to say like the one is younger than the other one. You know,
yeah,
even if it's whatever they said by like a couple minutes or whatever. But
yeah. That's just I think it's just stems from bad parenting in the beginning. Also, uh,
I feel like where this movie didn't work for me the most was that I just didn't care about their relationship as sisters.
I got halfway through the movie forgetting they were sisters. I thought they were roommates at one point.
Yeah, yeah.
Could,
I feel
that
like
would make more sense.
I feel like we could have used more, maybe more cutbacks to when they were children
Hmm.
or something like that. Like something actually like showing that there's a bond there between the two of them,
Yeah.
other than
I
just telling us, because that's kind of what this movie did. They didn't show us that much; it just kind of told us, and I didn't care. I didn't care.
Yeah. I don't even think it told us much, to be honest.
Vivian, like a handful of times, she's just like, "I've always told you I'd have your back no matter what, because that's what we said. We'd have each other's back." And then, but yeah, you know what you kind of said. Most of the time, Vivian was like, I don't know, because she didn't do anything bad, but she was definitely like smug. She was smug about her life compared to her
Yeah.
sisters.
Uh, I agree, but I don't think it came off as natural. Like
No,
none of these
no.
characters came out as natural. So you have um, the main character, she or Juliet, she is just so focused on one thing. She just wants to be, and honestly, I don't even know what she wants to be. So it's really making it seem like she wants to be, a great concert pianist or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but then it also seems like she just wants to be better than her sister.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just like at some point it's not realistic. There's so many people that go practice all their life and then they don't get where they want to go, or there's different avenues.
Mm-hmm.
But this person was so hyper focused.
And getting
And
into Juilliard, even though the other one of the teachers was like, "I told you to apply for backups, but you're just so headstrong and going to this one school." He's basically like, "You're not that
yeah.
good." And she's like, "Oh."
Yeah, well, in the end it just came down to, they said, passion, because it was like they both played the pieces good. It's just one had more passion about it, one was more robotic in the end.
Was it was like, but like the book she found or the book that she found,
Yeah.
was that making her? Was that helping her play better?
All right. Well, I say we rewind a little on this. So yeah, so I don't know, the main person that was supposed to play this concert, that's the girl in the beginning, jumped out of the
Yes.
window, killed herself. So a spot opens.
Mm-hmm.
Now, throughout the beginning, it's showing that the sister V is just a prodigy. She's amazing at the piano. But what they failed to show to me was that Juliet was bad at the piano, because she was
Yes.
playing just as good, I think.
She
Um,
sounded fine to me.
yeah, there was really no difference. Yeah, I'm sure when you get up to that level, it's little things that you don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not. I don't think it would bring that sister to be like, "Oh, I'm worthless. I'll never do it." Blah blah blah. You can play the same stuff.
They
Uh,
they basically made it seem like if she didn't get into Juilliard, she could never play the piano again.
yeah, and that's just not the case. I understand
Yeah.
wanting more, um, but then this is where, like, this all makes sense to me, kind of, because maybe going through a phase where it's so important. But then the Notebook comes,
Mm-hmm.
and this convenient plot device where it's just like, oh, it drops on the floor.
That's what I thought. I was kind of thinking too, like, yeah, it drops on the floor and it's like in like some random like art high school. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know where
Like you
they put it.
said,
It
yeah,
was in like four rooms, this
yeah,
entire
yeah.
like
That
thing, but
convenient plot device, like you said.
it was very convenient. So she gets this book, and then it's not very clear. So they hint on the music that's in the actual book was the Devil's Trill, which there's like some like folklore and history and like real world about how someone sold their soul to the devil so they can play something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. I want to play better. I'm gonna sell my soul to the devil. The devil's gonna make me play better, and then he gets my soul.
Mm-hmm.
Even exchange.
Which is a pretty common like folklore type thing with musicians in the past, you know, meeting the
Mhm.
devil at the crossroads and selling their soul to become rich and famous. And
Yeah. But where I think the movie just falls flat is they never explain the book.
yeah,
They
they
ne-
don't. Yeah,
like,
you're right, huh? Yeah, they don't.
well, first it it would make more sense to me if she said, I don't know, hey book, I want this, and
Hey,
the book
book,
gave it to her, right?
excuse me, book.
Like a genie, just I want to play better, because it just makes me think that, oh, if I found a random book on the floor and I played that music, all of a sudden the devil has my soul. Like, I don't know what I got into.
But like the music that she was playing from the book. So
That was
remind me, was that the same song that her sister was playing?
no.
Or was she just playing music on her own and then it was like
So
giving her powers,
right.
basically?
So the way I understood it is she found the book, she
Hmm.
opened it up, and she keeps calling it a theory book.
Hmm.
It just looks like sheet music to me, and with
Yeah.
random pictures in it. But she takes that book, goes to the piano, and starts playing from the
Yeah.
book,
Yeah. Yeah. I remember
and
that.
that is the Devil's Trill. So that's
So,
the song.
oh, okay. Okay. So right there, she basically like turned the key to unlock,
Yes,
so to speak. Yeah, okay.
which again doesn't make sense to me because that sheet music is around the world. So many people have played it, you know, and they didn't drop dead.
Not from that book.
Yes, not from the book. So it brings up a question: was it the book that was doing this? Like, did the book choose her? And I think with this movie, there's so many blanks that you have to fill in that at some point you're just rewriting the movie in your head to make it better than it actually is.
Yeah.
Like, it almost comes off like it wanted to be that deep movie where you have to watch 100 times, but in the end, it's like there's not enough information, and you can just go wild in your head and make up all these things. Um, so once she gets to that book, then that's when all these things started happening. It said it was showing kind of that she was getting better, but the music sounded the same to me. Her skills never really got better.
The music. I had a hard time with the music. I have to be honest. Like
The classical music or like the background music.
the background music to the movie, not the classic music. It was fine. You know, it
Mm,
was cool. Like when they're actually playing, but when it was like the music, like the sound, like the score of the movie,
yeah.
was just killing me.
In a good way? No.
Like just
Okay, it didn't do it that much.
it's so
It
much.
did it. It did it a lot, but I think that instead of doing jump scares, they just replaced it with that noise. Because it does have an uneasy feeling when you listen to like stuff like that when you're watching a
Hmm.
horror movie. Um, but yeah, this movie, and they threw so many random things that had nothing to do with anything. It's like, let's not do character development. Let's just, oh, B's sleeping with her teacher. Oh,
Hmm.
let's break up the boyfriend. I'm gonna
Hmm.
sleep with the boyfriend. And you sound like you had a point right there.
Why? This boyfriend, everybody is so infatuated with him.
All he was, what, he was just rolling like joints or something.
Yeah,
Is that all?
man.
He was just grinding. Like, that's all he was doing. Uh, but the book, so the book changes, which is weird. It changes as things happen, and
Hmm.
it was
To reflect because it was almost like it was reflecting the original stuff, but then when something would happen with her, it would like morph to reflect her situation.
yeah, which is fine. But why do these things need to happen? Like, why does she need to have sex with that guy for the
Um,
soul? Like, what is the point of that?
I don't know. What's the point of any of it?
I think that's what we're getting to. There's just like, I think the writer just was like, you know what? I got a good idea. We're gonna copy Black Swan, and I think I haven't seen Suspiria, I think it's called,
I haven't seen Suspiria either.
but it sounds very similar. It's
Okay.
like, all right, we're gonna
It's
have
probably better.
probably we're gonna
Mhm.
have an art of some sort, and then we're gonna have creepy stuff happen. And music loves the devil. And then they were like, well, how do we make this interesting? And they were just like, well, let's throw this and let's throw some teen drama in there. And they're like, wait a minute, it's too much, but we already committed, so let's just keep going with the teen drama. And they just kept
Yeah.
throwing it in, and the story I doesn't make sense. I don't care like what anyone says. They rewrote this movie in their head to make it good.
Well, I mean, they wanted to be good, right? That's kind of.
Yeah,
I mean, when you're most of the time people are making movies, they're not making it. But
but no, I didn't mean the actual writers. I meant the people watching.
you're saying the people watching it are kind of like filling in the gaps to make it better than it should be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because I bet you there's someone out there who did the 6 steps and probably was like, "Oh yeah, that has to do with Lucifer, and then this happens, and then the shining light means this." And yeah, but no, the movie didn't do that.
True story. This movie is fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
Damn.
It's low fresh, but it's fresh with 62%
Yeah,
approval rating.
but I
And the audience score is only 34%. Audience knows what's up with this one.
right. Well, I think it goes back to the reviewers are probably they like light horror,
Yeah.
and the people that are reviewing it and just tearing it down most likely love horror, that the entire genre, and they're comparing it to other movies.
Yeah. That's
I don't
another
think.
thing too. Like this movie was like I just kind of scanning some of these reviews real quick, and it
Mhm.
was really predictable. Every like once
Did
like you started seeing like the thread start unraveling, you're like, okay, I know where this is gonna end up or where that's gonna end up, and
Yeah. And I think that's fine, the predictability. I just think you got to
but
pull it off. It's got to be entertaining up to the end.
it's not good for it to be predictable when you can tell that they're trying to make it unpredictable. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like when the
Well, do you
book,
think that was happening?
yeah, because there's a couple times where it's like she would envision something happening,
Hmm.
and all of a sudden she would like snap out of it and be in a completely different spot. And I kind of feel like that was the movie trying to, it's a twist. Like every single time something happened, but
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
don't
I could be interpreting it wrong, but
I just know when I was watching it, the book came, it had all the symbols and everything, and I was like, "Wait a minute. Isn't that just English backwards?" But I was too lazy to actually pause. I'm just like, I don't care enough because I really wanted just to pause it and just do it, flip it over, and just be like, oh, that's what it says.
yeah.
And then, it's just a big reveal. Oh my god, put it in the mirror, and we can like no, like just it's kind of dumb at that point.
Yeah, I remember that.
um,
Just reading it backwards in the mirror.
and I don't know what's up with these girls, but is a proper prank to play on your sister just throwing bloody tampons for her to grab? Like, is
We're
that
even now.
yeah, that's a thing. Like I get the idea because she had her period when she wasn't supposed to, got blood everywhere. But the reaction is, I'm gonna get my sister back.
Yeah, that's another thing about this movie. It's like the person never went to high school who wrote this movie, or like
Yeah.
maybe because I don't know if this writer director is from America, but maybe this is what they just interpret as an American high school to be like.
British.
Are they British?
Yep.
So maybe this is what they just like, oh, that's an American high school. They throw dirt, bloody tampons in each other's stuff,
These
and
savages.
and the senior party is a crazy rave in the middle of the forest, you know.
Yeah. Well, that also didn't make a lot of this stuff didn't make sense to
Hmm.
me. Like they're trying to say she's so focused on, playing the piano that she doesn't do anything else. She's not ugly. She has friends.
Hmm.
Like all the stuff that would be totally fine. No one's practicing, 24 hours a day, but they try to like force it. Just like you said, they're just telling you all
Hmm.
she does is practice. Because then she started whining,
Hmm.
and I got annoyed by the character. But then I'm like, well, the actress must have been good because she's supposed to be annoying.
Yeah.
Um, and then we get to things that just the light. Let's talk about the light. The eye of Sauron that's
the
just like watching you.
the the special effects that look like I did it in After Effects.
Yeah, I think if I had to say what the worst part of this movie was, it was that.
It was just so bad. Like it literally looked like somebody just did like an orange ball glow in After Effects. Like no joke.
Yeah.
Like their special effects budget was like $45.
I think they blew their entire budget on makeup and CGI for the the girl that died in the beginning when she popped up in the mirror and she was just smiling.
Hmm.
I think all the budget went to makeup for that girl. And they couldn't afford any CGI for anything else.
Yeah, there's like so little, like you were kind of saying earlier, so little actual scares in this movie.
Hmm.
Like I don't like jump scares, but I at least want to be creeped out or something when I
Yeah.
watch a movie. And so much of this movie just felt more of a drama
Yeah.
that and with like it was like 5% horror. And
That's why light
like
horror. People
it,
like it.
if you look it up, it's classified as a horror, mystery, and thriller,
Hmm.
which I could kind of see with the thriller aspect what they're going for, but it was almost like if like the CW made a horror show.
Yeah, well, I think it would have been better if it was a show. Like
Maybe, yeah. Oh,
if
yeah, yeah, yeah.
character development
I
all
agree.
the way up, I don't know why they condensed the idea of the devil giving you musical powers in what seemed like weeks, a month maybe.
Well, she
It
had.
wasn't that long.
See, that's another thing too, because it's like when you say musical powers, was it was almost like was unlocking her full potential or something? Because she had been, working on this since she was what 5? She said.
Yeah. That I think that was just a movie mistake and bad writing. If they would have clearly made her worse, the only thing that made her worse, in my opinion, was she had performance anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't, be a performer if you're going to pass out or, shake and all that. So she kept taking these pills. And at one point, I'm like, this is just all in her mind. She's ODing off these anxiety pills or something that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
even make sense. Um, but that's the only thing in my mind that separated Juliet from V was the fact that she couldn't really perform and had anxiety.
I mean, that's basically what they told us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's that scene when they're at dinner with the parents, and the parents were about to, the mom was about to tell a story of the last time she did a solo, and it was going to sound like she panicked on stage or something. And they're like, no, can we
Yeah.
not? Or whatever she said.
It just doesn't make sense. There's plenty of people that have like that anxiety for performing, and you know, she should just stop practicing and start like practicing how to not be nervous and doing all that.
Yeah.
It's this is not what would happen in the real world. And I know movies are supposed to be suspend a little disbelief, but there's too much going on here. There is way too much. These sisters are not acting like sisters at all. At one point, V came in and was just like basically gave a speech on how she's trash and she'll
Mm-hmm.
always be trash.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
I
is
agree.
that what twins do?
I don't think so.
If they do, it's probably not before a big performance or anything.
Yeah, probably not. And yeah, there was like a weird. Yeah, I guess that's kind of the whole point I was getting at with us not getting to know them that well to begin with. Is there's like this. It felt like a forced like animosity between the two of them that
Yeah,
we like. I had no idea why it was there. You know.
only because one plays better,
But
or no,
yeah,
or no,
but
got more opportunities. But then also, when you look at it, she was hooking up with her teacher, which probably had an influence on what she got.
yeah, but what like was this like an ongoing thing throughout their whole relationship, like their whole childhood and everything, or was this like a new thing just because she got to play the final chair in that concert, or like has she always been jealous of her, or
I have no idea. I mean, I'm gonna guess that she's always been jealous ever since that first time that she, you know, helped her sister out and took over and played while the other one kind of crumbled.
Yeah, they probably could have done something like maybe having a flashback to that middle school performance or whatever it
Well, they had
was,
a
or
little bit of a flashback.
they had a tiny bit at the very beginning,
Like
but it wasn't
it
enough.
yeah, the flashbacks weren't enough to establish it. I wasn't believing it.
Wasn't it like basically during the opening credits?
I
It kind of
don't
like showed them growing up or something, like very vaguely though, like through like looking like it was home movies or something.
I don't remember, but it I think it was kind of home movie vibe-ish, like it was pretty shitty quality and,
Hmm.
you know, uh but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough for me to believe it. Um and then this is all the movie was. Like there's nothing else to say except talking about the ending.
Yeah.
Like all that bullshit was just filler. Basically, my sister plays better than me. She has more opportunities. Wah, I'm a loser. Um, find a book. I want to play, and here we are
Hmm.
at the end. So her sister breaks her arm in a weird way. Doesn't make sense. She just walks off a cliff, which,
And then she gets mad at her that she didn't stop her. It's like, bro, like what?
well, it doesn't make sense because it's like, well, first of all, you ran by your sister. Did you not see her? Did you actually see the light, and that's why you fell down? Did the devil just open up a hole in the ground? You fell. Like nobody just walks off a cliff like that.
Yeah.
It's not how it
And
works.
then she's laying straight on her back, but the only thing that's messed up is her broken arm.
Yeah, it,
Like
it
at least make her arm like bent crooked
nope.
ways or something.
They did nothing because they wanted to match that stupid book,
No,
the
man.
journal, the picture to where she's
Mhm.
just like laying there with her like the gold in her hair and everything. Um, no, the interaction there too when she caught her sister, talking to her boyfriend and was just like, "I see how you look at him." Blah. Where was that established?
Yeah.
Like, maybe it was, but it wasn't established enough to me. Um,
So I think we've established that there is a lot of things not established in this movie. But
yeah.
you were starting to talk about the end.
hmm so going towards the ending, so she eventually does, get the solo that
Mhm.
she gets to play and perform in front of everyone. But let's keep in mind who everyone is. This is a high school, concert.
This is like a bunch of parents.
Yeah, it's parents, teachers, some friends. It's one of those things where it's not a big deal.
And the sister goes out of her way to tell her there's nobody of importance in that crowd to
Yeah,
watch you, okay?
there was no need for that. We know it's
Yeah.
high school, which surprisingly, they're very good for high school.
Well, I think that the school that they went to was like a school for gifted musicians and stuff, like gifted
I
artists.
still think it's too good for high school, but either way.
Mhm.
So, her dreams are coming true of being a soloist in a high school concert, whatever. But
I had a solo in choir in eighth grade.
uh, was it like that?
It wasn't
Did you
that
sell your soul
intense.
for it? I was playing saxophone in high school, and half the people in the band didn't even show up for the concert.
Yeah.
Like that's how that was.
Yeah, there's
Uh,
usually like a scattering of people up in the audience. It wasn't people, everybody wearing full tuxedos.
right. No, but I let that slide though. I'm just like, okay, fine. In her world, high school is big. Um, so then she's gonna go play after her sister just talks shit. She goes up and then she freezes and walks off stage and sees an exit signs like, huh, let me.
It's glowing yellow.
Oh yeah, the light. I forgot what the light.
Yeah.
It's glowing. And she goes up and she looks and there's a ladder and like I should probably climb that. Climbs it and then another page of her pictures kind of showing up to where she's like has 1 foot off a cliff or something.
Hmm.
She walks over.
She sees that before this concert.
What do you mean she sees that before the concert?
She sees the picture
Oh yeah,
of
yeah,
her walking off the thing before this concert.
yeah. So then she walks. She's standing on the edge, and then I'm like, all right, just fall over, roll credits. I need to get out of this movie as fast as possible. And then it's like, psych, we're back in the concert. And I'm like, okay, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, all right, now she's playing amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, right when that happens, it's like, okay, yeah, I know that this isn't real. Did you think it might be real?
I didn't think it was real when I was watching it. When she went up there, at this point, I'm like, I don't even know what's real. I'm like making stories up in my head about what's going on.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's, I was just like, this can't be it. Um, it just doesn't make sense. So she's playing, then she's watching herself, and like none of this seems real.
Yeah.
Like they're not portraying it as it is real. And then, she plays, takes a bow, everything's good, and then I'm like, all right, roll credits. Like, oh yeah, her sister is smiling in the audience in
Yeah,
approval,
that's the
which is a big
biggest
deal.
that's the biggest giveaway that this isn't real.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh my god, this is the best thing I've been to in my life. And then it's like, psych, never mind. And
Hmm.
then cuts to her being dead, but not, well, actually,
Yeah,
not
she's
not
not dead. She's
not
just
dead.
mutilated, and
Just
she's happy about it though.
she decided that I'm going to fall off the roof and land on that spiky object
Hmm.
instead of 2 feet to the right or left. Um,
Yeah,
but there she is. She's sitting there bloody, and then she's smiling.
yeah.
And then you zoom out. It zooms out, and it shows people walking by. No one's noticing her, not giving a shit. And then the movie's over.
Classic high school behavior.
Right? So the first thing was like, people would notice that. But then as I started thinking about it, I was like, are they trying to be deep? I'm like, I think they're trying to be deep with this and be like, oh yeah, she landed and died and she's happy because in her mind she did this. But in the end, no one actually pays attention to her. Like nobody cares at all. So it's like, is this a metaphor? Like, what are we doing here? Or is this actually really happening that people are walking by? And I think the movie missed its mark on that because I have no idea.
Yeah, I
It's forcing
I
you to think when it's not that deep.
I agree. That's all I have to say about it.
Right?
They're trying. They're trying. They tried. I'll give them that. They tried, and not a lot of people get to try. So good for them. Good for them.
The good old college try. But it is her first movie that she wrote and directed, and I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure that's it's a pretty big accomplishment for her. I don't think it was a bad movie. I just don't think it's that good.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, we are kind of beating up on it. Um, like I said, if you are into horror, you might like this movie. It wasn't terrible. I've seen far worse,
yeah,
you know, and but it just didn't do anything. It was nothing special. It was just a run of the mill. Let's spend a hour and a half watching a horror movie that we're gonna forget about 5 minutes later.
yeah. As I'm talking about, I'm forgetting key points.
Hmm.
I'm sure there's other things that happen in the movie that I just missed. I was probably checking my phone or not paying attention.
Yeah.
Um, but I did do a quick Google search before, and it seems that people have theories on if she lived or died.
Okay. What are
Before
some of
we,
those series?
so some people are saying that her falling off is not and dying is not actually a physical death, but the representation of her soul dying. She lost her sister, like parts, all these parts to get to perform, she lost. All this stuff is just going bad in her life, bad in her life, and finally she just gave everything up and killed off her soul. But she really is living.
Nah.
I don't think there was enough grounds for that theory.
Well, and it's like, after, we brought up the point that after the concert, like her sister standing up smiling and
Hmm.
like, so like, if that was the case, if what happened was real in that spot, then her sister doesn't seem to have that hate towards her or anything. You know, she's applauding her, she's smiling,
Yep.
she's happy for her that she killed it. So that theory's out the window. What do you got next?
The other one was kind of what we talked about, where it was the she actually does leave and doesn't play, jumps off,
Hmm.
and then the devil basically was like in his trickster ways, if it is even the devil, was like, all right, I have your soul now, you're dead, and you get this moment in your head,
Yeah. I
which is,
mean,
I think that's what is more leaning towards.
that's how I interpreted it basically. Was like, yeah, you're dead now, but yeah, you're living this moment in your head,
Hmm.
and then yeah, lights out after that.
So then there's another person that had, another theory out there on, because I was like, well, that doesn't make sense because the other girl in the beginning that had the part, she didn't die before, like right before the concert. She was just practicing and then died. So why did she die there?
She heard the bells.
They're going to go on.
Don't you remember? Like she was playing, she has beautiful music. Then like the the bells on the clock tower or something
Yeah.
started going off. She just like went into a trance and walked off. Yeah, she heard the bells.
Oh, that explains it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
some theory out there says that there were six bells that goes through the six steps. I don't remember what those six steps are, but the last one is sacrifice, kill yourself, right?
Okay.
So the theory goes that the bells rang to the sixth one, and instead of taking the devil's offer and going forward with it, she decided to end her life and end what was going on with the whole book and the devil and everything.
So okay, so you're saying like if she actually went through with everything, then she would have played the concert, but she decided not. But
So that one ties in with the main character never actually dying and living afterwards. So the first girl decided to actually kill herself to stop the process.
oh, okay, okay, okay. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Um, I guess. I mean, that could kind of make sense, but the way that that whole scene played out was almost like she was in a trance.
Yeah.
Like how, the main character was whenever something would happen. When she would see the light, basically, she got in a trance, right? And she just kind of followed the light, and it was almost like it was telling her what to do, kind of
Was she
deal.
she a moth? Like I don't understand. It doesn't. I'm calling all these theories bullshit. It's just she died, thought she had a great performance. The end.
Yeah, like, they say, like, your life flashes before your eyes, and to her whole life was built up to that moment. So that moment that could have been flashed before her eyes before she actually died.
That high school performance was the pinnacle. I messed up in high
Hey
school.
man, hey man. Sometimes when you're in high school, you don't see anything past. You don't see anything past. That's the biggest time of your life.
I guess so, but that pretty much wraps up the movie. So uh, after we talked about this, I know you recommended in the beginning, but if there was a diehard horror fan that was like, "Hey, I need to know what movie to watch," and they're like, "I heard about Nocturne. Should I watch it?" What would you tell them?
I would say if you've seen these 300 other movies, then sure, give it a chance.
Just if you've seen cinema in your life, like, uh,
Um, you know, I guess it would just depend on who was asking me.
okay,
It really like if I knew that the person was into like I don't know like Friday the 13th movies or something like that, I'd be like, nah, eh, stay away
yeah,
from this. But if you're somebody who wants kind of like you're saying, like a lot of reviewers might actually like this because it wasn't that crazy.
hmm
It was pretty tame. It was almost like I said, like yeah, if you watch a lot of CW and you want to watch a horror movie, yeah, give this movie a shot for sure.
yeah. I think if someone's a big horror fan, I would say just skip it in general. The only way I'd recommend it if someone was just like, "Hey, I need a thriller, something to make me think," and they don't want that really deep to where they have to go research and look at YouTube videos to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's a quick, you know, 90-minute movie. It's not bad. So I think people like that should watch it, but the major horror fans just skip it.
Yeah. I wouldn't pay money to see this.
No,
Like I wouldn't go to a theater. No.
not at all. But it is,
But
well, not free, but it's
at
on
this
Amazon
at
Prime.
the same time, when it was over, I do not feel like I wasted my life watching it. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, it wasn't that good, but I got enough entertainment out of it and
Yeah, it wasn't like Wonder Woman 2 or anything like that. So I felt the same way. I was like, I'm going to relax. I'm going to put on a movie. Found this one. I don't regret it. Um, and that's really all I got to say about the movie. You have anything else to add?
no.
All right. Well, that's it for this episode. Again, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you have any recommendations for any movies you'd like us to review, just leave them in the comments, and we'll catch everyone next time.